Hello, my dears. Hello, my ninth graders. Welcome again to a new lesson. In this lesson, we will continue the last part of our story, God Sees the Truth But Waits. Previously, we introduced part 1 and part 2, and today we will do part 3. So, I will ask you to bring your literature book and open on God Sees the Truth But Waits, part 3. We are on Unit 8, literature book, pages 188 and 189. We will introduce in this video the first two pages of part 3. This slide or this page in front of you to remind you with the mood of the story. Again, the mood of the story of God Sees the Truth But Waits is serious. Why? Because it has very important events or talks about very important events and very thoughtful. We are on part 3, page 188. So please open your literature book, page 188, and you will listen to this page. We will introduce the vocabularies that you can see in front of you and the most important questions. So focus, please.
Turn to page 188. God Sees the Truth But Waits, Part 3.
Aksenov could not sleep that night. He was extremely unhappy, and he thought about many things. He saw the image of his wife as she was when he left her to go to the fair at Nizhny. He remembered her face, and her eyes, and her voice. And he remembered his children, who were very small at that time. And then he remembered himself as he used to be, young and happy. He remembered how he had sat on the porch of the inn where they had arrested him, how he had played his guitar, and how cheerful he had been. Then he thought about the trial and about the terrible crime they said he had committed. He remembered the people staring at him and the chains he had worn. He thought about the 26 years he had been in prison, and about how old he had become. The thought of it filled him with grief. And it's all his fault, thought Aksenov. And he was furious at Makar Semovich and wanted revenge. He could not go near the man. He could not even look at him. One evening, as Aksenov was wandering sadly around the prison, he noticed some earth on the floor near one of the bunks. As he was staring at it, Makar Semovich suddenly crawled out from under the bunk and glared up at Aksenov with a startled look on his face. Before Aksenov could take another step, Semovich grabbed him by the arm and told him that he had been digging a tunnel under the wall. Semovich said that he had been disposing of the earth by putting it into his boots and then emptying it out later on the road when the prisoners were marching to work. "Keep quiet, old man, and I'll get you out of here too," he whispered threateningly. "If you tell them what I've been doing, they'll beat the life out of me. But bear in mind, I'll kill you first," he warned. Aksenov, filled with rage, looked at his enemy and angrily said, "I have nothing to gain by escaping. And as for killing me, you killed me. No."
So, my dears, here is the first page of part 3, page 188. So, if you remember at the end of part 2, the last thing that we discussed was that Aksenov was certain at the end of part 2 that Semovich or Makar Semovich, he was the one who killed the merchant. How is that? When he asked him about how did you know about the case or what did you hear about the killer, he was certain that Semovich was the killer of the merchant. Now, at the beginning of page 188, as you see the first paragraph here, we are talking about Aksinov as he started to remember everything in his life. He started to remember his wife, his children, maybe or surely he remembered his appearance before he got older and became where his hair turned white as snow. So he remembered everything in the past. How was he happy? He was happy. He didn't care about anything. But now he is a killer, or he is accused of being a killer for the merchant. So at the first paragraph, only that Aksinov remembered everything that made him happy in the past. Then you have in the following paragraph, then he started to think about his present or about his new situation as a criminal or as a convict. So he thought about the crime that he didn't commit, or they accused him of being a criminal or killer for the merchant and he stole his money. So here in this paragraph, here we can see that Aksinov was so much sad, that he was so much sad because of his new situation. In the last two lines, as you see, he started to say, and it's all his fault, thought Aksinov. He was thinking of fault of whom? His fault, خطأ من, fault, yes, of Semevich. Why? Because Semevich was the killer. Because of that, Aksinov was thrown into jail. That Semevich killed the merchant, but because of that, they caught Aksinov and accused him of being the killer, but he is not the killer of the merchant. So he was furious at Makar Semevich and wanted revenge. Furious, it means very angry. He was very angry at Makar Semevich and he wanted to take his revenge. انتقام. ينتقم من Makar Semevich. Then what happened in the following two lines? In one evening, as Aksinov was wandering sadly around the prison, what did he notice? What did Aksinov notice while he was walking around the prison? Your answer should be that he noticed some earth on the floor near one of the bunks. He noticed لاحظ وجود some earth. Earth, it means soil, turab, or turbe, near one of the bunks. قريب من البنك. Bunk, it means رصيف, or yes, a place where he noticed that there is some earth on one of the bunks. So what happened next? Makar Semevich crawled out from under the bunk and glared up at Aksinov with a startled look on his face. So Makar Semevich appeared suddenly and he looked at Aksinov and he was so much surprised because he saw Aksinov in this situation. Now, in the following three lines, before Aksinov could take another step, here we have something that Semevich did for Aksinov. What did Semevich do for Aksinov when he saw him that he was so much near from the bunk? What did he do? In the first line, Semevich grabbed whom? Aksinov by the arm and told him that he had been digging a tunnel under the wall. So what was Semevich doing? He was digging a tunnel, يحفر نفق. Why? In order to escape, كي يهرب. So, he told Aksinov that he was digging a tunnel. How is that? That he was disposing of the earth by putting it into his boots. كان يضع التراب in his boots, then emptying the earth out of the hole or the tunnel. كان يفرغ التراب خارج الفتحة أو النفق اللي عم بحفره. Then in the second or the following two lines, start Semevich to talk with whom? With Aksinov. He said, keep quiet, old man, I will get you out of here too. So here Semevich is telling Aksinov that he will take him out from the prison. But at the second line, he tell him, but bear in mind, I will kill you first, he warned. Here, we can notice that Semevich warned يحذر Aksinov that he will kill him if he told whom? The police. Bear in mind here, it's an idiom in the story. It means don't forget. لا تنسى that I will kill you if you tell any one of the guards or of the police. The last two lines was the reaction from Aksinov. What did Aksinov do when he knew that Semevich is planning to escape from the prison? Aksinov filled with rage. Rage, it means غضب عارم, that he was so much angry. He looked at his enemy, عدوه وهو Semevich, angrily, and he said that I have nothing to gain by escaping. It means that as if that I don't want to escape, I don't want to go out of the prison because I have nothing. My children, of course, forgot me, and my wife is dead already. And as for killing me, you killed me before. If you are talking about killing, you killed me before by stealing or killing the merchant and putting me here in the jail, and I am innocent. I didn't kill the merchant. Now, or before we move to the questions, here you have the most important vocabularies. You have image, grief, fault, furious, revenge, wondering, noticed, bunks, crawled out, glared up, startled look, digging a tunnel, emptying, whispered, threateningly, and you have and you have rage, enemy, gain, escaping. Important questions for this page. Number one, why couldn't Aksinov sleep that night? The night that when Semevich told him something about the crime. He couldn't sleep that night because he was extremely unhappy and he thought about many things. Number two, what did Semevich threaten to do if Aksinov told the prison officials about the tunnel? Semevich threatened that he will kill Aksinov if he said anything about the tunnel. Let's move on to page 189. 189. Again, listen carefully and follow with me, please.
Go. Then, pulling his arm fiercely away from Semevich, Aksinov walked quickly away. The next day, while the convicts were being taken to work, a guard noticed some fresh earth scattered on the road. The prison was searched, and the tunnel was discovered. The warden arrived and began to question each prisoner to find out who had dug the passage. No one admitted that he had dug the tunnel, or accused anyone else of doing it. Finally, the warden came to Aksinov. "I know that you are a truthful old man," said the warden. "Tell me who dug the tunnel." Makar Semevich was standing nearby. He tried to appear unconcerned, but his heart was pounding with fear. He did not dare to look at the warden or at Aksinov. Aksinov's lips and hands trembled. A long time passed before he could speak. He was thinking, why should I protect the man who has ruined my life? I should make him pay at last for all my suffering. But if I tell, they'll probably beat him to death. And what difference would that make? What good would that be to me? "Well, old man," repeated the warden, "tell us the truth. Who dug the tunnel?" Aksinov glanced at Makar Semevich and replied, I cannot say, Your Honor. Do whatever you want with me." And despite all the warden's threats, Aksinov said nothing more. As a result, they failed to discover who had dug the tunnel. That night, as Aksinov was lying on his bunk, someone approached him and sat at his feet. Aksinov peered through the darkness and recognized Semevich. "What more do you want of me?" asked Aksinov. "Why have you come here?"
So, my dears, this is page 189. This is until line 61. Okay, this is until line 61, because the end of this page with the beginning of the last page, we will continue these pages in the next video. Now, page 189, after that, what happened? Now already Aksinov knew that Semevich was digging a tunnel, and Semevich warned him or threatened him that not to tell the police or he will kill him. Now, in the first paragraph of this page 189, what happened next? Here came whom came the guard or the warden, الحارس, okay, or the police, one of the police officials, the one who worked for the police. They came and they saw or noticed what, that there is some earth scattered here and there. لاحظ وجود التراب في كل مكان. So they start to ask about who dug the tunnel, or where, what is the source for this earth. At the same paragraph, they ask the prisoners about that, but no one admitted who dug the tunnel. In the following 3 lines, start with I know that you are a truthful old man, said the warden. Now the warden is talking to Aksinov. He's telling him that you always telling us the truth. So please tell us who dug the tunnel, or who dare to dug the tunnel. Here we have also the following 2 lines, that the reaction from Aksinov, that he didn't want to answer. Okay, now he didn't want to tell anyone or the police about Semevich. Now, also in these lines we can see the reaction for Makar Semevich, that his heart was pounding with fear, كان قلبه يخفق بالخوف, that he was so much frightened from the police or from Aksinov. He was afraid that maybe Aksinov will tell the police about him. In the second paragraph, start with Aksinov's lips. Here we have the maybe the conflict inside Aksinov, that he start to think with himself. So whether to tell the police about Semevich or not, he start to say, why don't I tell the police about the one who ruined my life? أفسد حياتي أو خرب حياتي. So I will tell the police about Semevich. Now here also, even though the conflict inside Aksinov, but he start to think that if I told the police about Semevich, they will punish him, or they will beat him to death. Maybe they will kill him, or they will keep him in prison for a whole of his life. In the 3 lines, following 3 lines, here we have that Aksinov didn't agree to tell the police, even the warden's threats, بالرغم من تهديدات المسؤول أو the one who was responsible for the police, but Aksinov didn't say or didn't tell them that Semevich was the one who dug the tunnel. The last 3 lines, my dears, we can here notice that that night when Aksinov didn't agree to, or didn't agree to tell the police that Semevich was the one who dug the tunnel, we can see that Semevich came in order to talk to home to Aksinov. So here in the last 3 lines, that night as Aksinov was lying on his bunk, someone approached him and sat at his feet. Who was this? Yes, Makar Semevich. When Aksinov peered, بمعنى looked closely in the darkness, he recognized that Semevich came to talk to him. And he asked him the last question that you can see, what more do you want of me? Asked Aksinov, why have you come here? Here is Aksinov is asking Semevich about, why did you come? After the whole thing that you did to me, what do you want from me again? Now, my dears, I will read the vocabularies for you for page 189. Fiercely, scattered, truthful, unconcerned, pounding, fear, dare to, trembled, ruined, suffering, threats, lying, bunk, approached, peered, darkness, recognized, and we have also protect. We have, my dears, the only one question for page 189. How did the guard know that there was a tunnel? He noticed some fresh earth scattered on the road. كيف لاحظ وجود التنل أو النفق? He noticed some fresh earth scattered on the road. That he saw some earth on the road. So because of that, he noticed that there is a tunnel or there is something bad happening here. And by this, my dears, we end pages 188 and 189 from part 3. I hope you study well, study or memorize the vocabularies that you have and also the questions that you have in this part. See you soon. Thank you. Bye bye.